Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Zach, aka Keith39 here to bring you another NFL Showdown slate. Honestly, I have a pretty fun slate here. Seahawks and the Saints both have a ton of injuries. So it's going to be interesting. Quite a few different ways you can go on the slate, which typically I enjoy, where it's not a chalk fest. But I'm going to start the Saints side where it is going to be a chalk fest for these two guys, Alvin Kamara and Jameis Winston. Alvin Kamara is definitely my preferred. Definitely my preferred captain play. And I think he's priced at 12.8K, but it is pretty easy to get up to him because there is a ton of value on the slate, and not too many studs that I necessarily feel good about playing. We've seen Alvin Kamara is getting fed this year like he has never been fed before in his career. We haven't seen like the breakthrough games yet. Obviously, Drew Brees leaving and getting Jameis Winston definitely hurts how much he can get the ball in the passing game. But regardless, he's getting rushing attempts a ton. It hasn't had a true great matchup yet, like he's going to have here in this one. The Saints defense is awful. They average 141 rushing yards a game, give up a ton of pass catches to the back, ton of receiving yards to running backs. And so in Alvin Kamara's career, his big problem, not problem, he's always been a top fantasy running back, but like the one complaint was that Lat Murray was taking a lot of playing time and touching the ball a lot. As you can see here, not the case. 84, 84, 87, 88% snaps over the last couple of games. Yeah, you're 100% playing him, and you are very much considering captaining him, and he's definitely the preferred captain. I just see no way he doesn't produce a monster game here. Honestly, same with Jameis. Pretty expensive, but definitely justified. He's really been a bit of a bust QB this year, which should not be surprising. He's been like that his whole career. But same goes for Jameis. They're giving up 292 passing yards a game. The Seahawks defense is just really bad, not what it used to be. And you're playing Jameis as well. I just see no reason not to. So now is where you get to the tougher points. Marquise Callaway, I like. He's in the same price range as DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, so I could see him not being very popular. He's really come alive the last two games, 8 for 85, 2 touchdowns against Washington. And he's not what everyone wanted him to be, but I think it's because everyone had way too high of expectations for him. Everyone expected him to be some super stud receiver because he had his preseason game where he went crazy. It's not who he is. He's a really good receiver, but he's not like some alpha. So yeah, I think he's a solid play, but GPP because of the Seahawks size and range. But better matchup for him. But there's only so many people that can touch the ball for the Saints. So I can see not playing him, but GPPs I really, really like him. So we know Michael Thomas out. He's eligible to return, but still not back. Deontay Harris is a big guy that's out. It's going to open up a lot of value for the Saints. Taysom Hill out as well. So that just gives a huge boost to Alvin Kamara and Jameis Winston. Although he doesn't take a ton of playing time, his playing time does come in the red zone and short yardage territory. So he can vulture some touchdowns. Not going to be the case tonight. Saints defense, I think, is in play with 6K. No thanks on the defense. You guys know how I feel about that one. So yeah, here's where it gets interesting. Trey Smith, eligible to return. I think he plays. Like, they don't really have. If he doesn't play, then there's a ton of value. But 4.8K, he is very, very much in play if he's active. We haven't had much word on it. So it is tough to tell right now. I'll probably know in 2 or 3 hours for sure on Traquan Smith. But yeah, he was expected to be the number one guy for them. He had really good games last year, very kind of similar to Marquise Callaway in a build manner. But everyone expected him to step up last year when Emmanuel Sanders got hurt. He's a boomer bust guy. Marquise Callaway is definitely the better like possession type receiver. He's going to have more catches, but Tre'Quan Smith is equally as talented and can put big numbers up. So against this bad defense, like 4.8K, if this was a week 1 game and he is active, he would have been probably 8K. So definitely a lot of interest here. No Lutz. So obviously, as Gator says, kickers kick. So Brian Johnson is in play. Don't know much about him, but and a team that's going to score a lot of points. I like playing kickers for those guys, so definitely have interest there. Juwan Johnson, he's really a touchdown or bust type of guy. Look at his snap counts. Yeah, like 11%. Like he had 1 game of decent snaps, so everything else is just does he catch a red zone touchdown? So not too interested in him. Then you look at Adam Troutman, who played 86% of snaps last week. So I have a lot of interest in Adam Troutman. He was kind of everybody's preseason tight end that you should look for in fantasy. Obviously hasn't produced, but if all those receivers are out, I think that only boosts Adam Troutman. He'd probably be my favorite of those cheap guys. This is if Tre'Quan Smith is out. Because then the only other guys that will have to play are Kenny Stills and Ty Montgomery, who I also like both of them as cheap guys. Stills played 71% of snaps last week. Montgomery 45. Kenny Stills had 5 targets, so I do have interest in him. I didn't see what was his target count. Was it just 2? Yeah, I got 2 for 23. Get this off my screen. It's going to spoil something for later, but obviously everyone's going to know about that guy. But I know Adam Troutman is a guy that is very athletic. Dynasty guys love him. Player comp to Dallas Goedert. As you see, profile guys like him as well with his profile picture. But yeah, he had a 97th percentile college dominator, 67th breakout age. Yeah, so he's just a guy that's pretty athletic. People like him. He's going to score touchdowns. Get back to this. Bring this up for later. But yeah, so Saints have a lot of really, really interesting value guys. So it's very easy to pay up for Alvin Kamara at the stud spot. So yeah, I think Troutman, Stills, and Ty Montgomery are all in play. As even more so if Tre'Quan Smith is out. I do want to look at something quick. Yeah, so like he's been playing good snaps all year. Actually, I did not realize this. I can't believe how bad he's been. So I guess it doesn't really matter if Tre'Quan Smith matters. If Tre'Quan Smith plays for Troutman, so I'll say if Tre'Quan Smith is in, Troutman would be my favorite punt. If not, Kenny Stills would be my favorite punt out of these guys. So. Yeah, I don't really see any of these running backs taking over for Tony Jones. His first game gave me hope that he's going to play a decent amount, but then it's been Kamara ever since. So yeah, just like Kamara on that side. So over to the Seahawks side, this is where it's tough picking what Seahawks to play. So DK Metcalf is probably my favorite as of now. I expect him to be lower owned than Lockett because everyone's going to be scared of Marshall Lattimore. Don't blame them. That guy's a super stud. But this is, to me, a matchup that DK Metcalf wins. He has like 40 pounds on Marshall Lattimore. So I just don't see, like, this is the type of guy that if he presses up, like press coverage him, he's just going to get bullied off the ball and DK Metcalf's going to be open. The big worry is with Geno Smith, who I think he's in play. He's really cheap. Had a fine game last week, 11 points. They just played like a game manager role, which is what you should do. And they had no issue running right up and down the Steelers, which was sad for me, but different topic for a different time. But yeah, I think DK Metcalf, I think Marshall Lattimore is a guy you can beat. So he's probably my favorite. Geno Smith, fine play, not a good matchup, but not a good matchup for any of these guys. So that's why it's tougher for me. I do think Lockett has a good matchup, but with Geno Smith, he just does not seem to be the guy he looks for. Didn't do anything in the end of the game when he came in for this one. I had 7 targets, just 2 for 35. So yeah, it's tough to really decide. But I think Tyler Lockett's just a Russell Wilson guy. He's good, but he's good because he's good at what Russell Wilson's good at. So yeah, it's tough, but my lean is DK Metcalf, but obviously both are in play. Alex Collins didn't really practice all week, but as you can see, Pete Carroll said he looked good and is going to play. I faded him last week, and it hurt really bad because he went off. I'm fading him again. Rashad Penny's expected back. I kind of think he plays RB1 role. But yeah, they give up 80 rushing yards a game. They're going to be trailing probably, which does not bode well for Alex Collins. So yeah, I think he's a complete fade. Demir Dallas has stepped into that pass catching role. Had 10 last game. I don't see a way I could pay 5.2 for him. Because even when they get down, well, one, we don't know if Rashad Penny is going to play. He could play third down. He's more of a complete back than Alex Collins. But like Travis Homer will play a couple snaps. He can play. Demir Dallas will be 2-minute guy and stuff like that. But I think regular third downs, Homer plays a fair amount to the point where I just can't spend 5.2 for Dallas in a 4-man committee where he is on the outside looking in. But if you do think to get down, I could see that Dallas catching 5 or 6 passes again and catching value. So yes, Jason Myers, we know kicker's kick. He's firmly in play. So yeah, Rashad Penny, this is where I think he's probably the best value on the slate. He's a former first-round pick. If this thing goes away. Former first-round pick, absolute stud in college, 98th percentile dominator, or 98th percentile college dominator, 96th percentile yards per carry at 7.6. Yeah, build similar to Melvin Gordon. Like that's a good player comp that you want. Average 6 carries per game on his 65 rush attempts in his rookie year. His problem is staying healthy. I think he's the best back on this team. He is one of the worst first-round picks we've had in recent history. I don't understand why they picked him. It made absolutely no sense. Almost less sense than the Jaguars picking Travis Etienne this year. But regardless, he is a really good running back, or he was a really good college running back. Hasn't got to prove it much in the NFL. Really a terrible matchup, but you're paying 2.6, and I do think that he's going to be kind of the guy that they would lean on. Even if Alex Collins plays, I guess he'd probably be more GPP, but I think that that's just how I feel. I think that like you can only wait so long for a first round pick. It's like now or never for Rashad Penny. So I do think that he gets a fair amount of looks tonight, even first game off IR. The final guy, I don't really like either tight end. I do prefer Gerald Everett over Will Dissly. He's just a better athlete, a better receiver. But Freddie Swain at 2K, he is playing a ton of snaps. 80% last week. They're going to be trailing again this week, so I kind of expect something similar. So yeah, I just think that it's really tough for me to dislike him, even though he's been pretty bad. I'd probably have him as a lock if Russell Wilson was in, obviously, or honestly. But yeah, I just don't see really a way to it's really tough to decide on him. But I think he's firmly in play for cash, firmly in play for GPPs. Like he's not a bad player. We'll go ahead and look at his player profile quick. Yeah, he's a solid athlete, nothing crazy. Yeah, I think he's fine. Just don't love. So I honestly probably prefer him over the Saints guy if Traquan's in, and if Traquan's out, I prefer the Saints guy. So Yep, that's gonna do it. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be around for chat because there's a couple guys that those IR news are gonna be big. So, yeah, later.